6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Muhammad Zubair Khan. First, the headlines. Caretaker Prime Minister has called for greater international collaboration for global funding and frameworks to ensure health security across the world. The Federal Cabinet has paid glowing tribute to the Shuhada of Bajor blast who embraced martyrdom while guarding polio team in the area. Election Commission of Pakistan will display preliminary lists of candidates for general elections 2024 tomorrow. At the United Nations, Pakistan has expressed regret over failure to impose a ceasefire in Gaza, terming Israeli aggression a flagrant violation of international law. 147 Palestinians were martyred in Israeli airstrikes and bombardment in Gaza during the last 24 hours. All Parties Hurriyat Conference has urged the United Nations Organization of Islamic Cooperation and European Union to take cognizance of state terrorism in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And now the news in detail. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar has called for greater international collaboration for global funding and frameworks to ensure worldwide health security. Speaking at the inaugural session of two-day Global Health Security Summit in Islamabad today, he also urged the need for information sharing, joint research and collaborative strategies for an effective response during emergencies. The Prime Minister said new diseases like COVID-19 pandemic and climate-induced challenges such as historic floods of 2022 in Pakistan are affecting our citizens' health and causing social and economic impacts. He emphasized the importance of integrating climate resilience into the health policies and systems. Prime Minister also emphasized the need for establishing international standards for food security to ensure the highest level of protection for population worldwide. Anwarul Haq Kakar said no state in the world can meet the health challenges single-handedly. He said similarly internal challenges posed by population growth and rapid urbanization also cannot be dealt with by a country alone. Caretaker Prime Minister Anwarul Haq Kakar has said the state will never forget the bereaved families of Shuhada who sacrificed their lives for our bright future. Chairing the Federal Cabinet meeting in Islamabad today, he said terrorists cannot defeat the resolve of 240 million people of Pakistan. The Prime Minister expressed the resolve that anti-polio mission will effectively continue till complete eradication of polio virus from the country. The Cabinet, paying glowing tributes to the Shuhada of Bajor blast, strongly condemned the attack on police personnel who were deployed on the security of the polio team. It also offered Fatiha for the departed souls. Federal Tax Ombudsman resolved over 8,000 complaints against the maladministration of tax and custom authorities during the last year. This was highlighted during a briefing given to the President Dr. Arif Alvi in Islamabad today. It was also informed that FTO provided a relief of over 17 billion rupees to taxpayers in 2023 as compared to 7 billion rupees in 2022. Speaking on the occasion, the President advised to accelerate efforts to increase the registration and disposal of complaints besides increasing its outreach to taxpayers. He also called for enhanced coordination between FTO and FBR for the timely implementation of its decisions and bringing improvements in the tax regime. He remarked that an improved tax system is essential to increase tax and revenue generation in Pakistan, which could help improve our economy as well as reduce the country's dependence on loans. The Election Commission of Pakistan will publish preliminary lists of candidates tomorrow, while the candidates can withdraw their nomination papers by Friday. According to election schedule, today is the last day to dispose of appeals filed against acceptance or rejection of nomination papers for the general elections by appellate tribunals. These tribunals are being headed by judges of the high courts. The revised list of candidates will be published on Friday. The general electoral symbols will be allotted on Saturday, while polling for general elections 2024 will be held on 8th of next month. Governor Sindh Kamran Tesori has invited Croatian investors to invest in the province as there are a lot of investment opportunities available in various sectors. He was talking to Ambassador of Croatia, Dr. Drago Stambuk, in Karachi today. Bilateral relations and increase in trade and other matters came under discussion during the meeting. Sindh caretaker Chief Minister Makbul Bakar has said that the provincial government is working to combat impacts of climate change. He was talking to a delegation of Pakistan Navy War Course participants who called on him in Karachi today. The Chief Minister said that saplings are being planted to clean the sea from pollution. He said protection of trees is the responsibility of all the institutions. The Ministry of Religious Affairs has started action against tour operators involved in illegal booking of Hajj and Umrah. In this regard, the ministry has directed Federal Investigation Agency to submit inquiry report against Fifth Pillar Family Takaful Limited involved in the illegal process related to Hajj booking. The ministry has urged general public to be aware of such fraudulent companies and must check the details of companies on its website prior to booking for Hajj and Umrah. This is Radio Pakistan. At the United Nations, Pakistan has warned that failure of international efforts to halt brutal Israeli war on Gaza risks escalation that engulf entire region. Acting permanent representative of Pakistan to the World Body in New York, Usman Jadoon, while participating in debate at General Assembly, said a heavy responsibility rests on those who have enabled the prolongation of this war and the continuing slaughter of innocent civilians in Gaza. In his remarks, the Pakistani envoy said the Security Council has regrettably failed in fulfilling the obligation to impose a ceasefire. Usman Jadoon said Israel's indiscriminate slaughter of innocent Palestinian civilians, including children and women, is a flagrant violation of international law, including the principles of the UN Charter. He said this genocidal war must be stopped forthwith in accordance with the General Assembly's resounding call for an immediate and unconditional humanitarian ceasefire. The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Ramallah today. During the meeting, they discussed situation in Gaza and humanitarian assistance. At least 147 Palestinians were martyred in continued Israeli aggression in Gaza during the last 24 hours. According to Gaza Health Ministry, martyrdom toll of Palestinians in Gaza has risen to 23,357 and more than 59,000 injured in Israeli attacks since October the 7th. Israel has also intensified bombing and ground incursions in the occupied West Bank. All Parties Hurriyat Conference has urged the United Nations, Organization of Islamic Cooperation and European Union to take cognizance of state terrorism in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. According to Kashmir Media Service, the APHC spokesman in a statement also called for implementation of the UN Security Council resolutions to settle the Kashmir dispute. The spokesman deplored that India has turned the occupied territory into a garrison where its troops are committing large-scale human rights violations which are by no means less than war crimes. Meanwhile, Srinagar-based political and legal experts in their interviews and statements said that India is plundering the natural resources of occupied Jammu and Kashmir as part of its larger conspiracy to render Kashmiri people economically marginalized. Iraq wants a quick and orderly negotiated exit of US-led military forces from its soil. Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani, in an interview in Baghdad, said there is a need to reorganize this relationship. He said the exit should be negotiated under a process of understanding and dialogue. Iraqi Prime Minister said end of the Gaza war is the only solution. And finally, the weather report. Mainly cold and dry weather is expected in most parts of the country, while very cold in northern parts and North Balochistan during the next 12 hours. Dense fog and smog is likely to persist in plain areas of Punjab, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Upper Sindh. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.